Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of Slammin Synapses right here on YouTube. My name's Albert Courier. If you're viewing me through YouTube, you'll see a subscribe button up here. Click on that, keep it up to date with the latest ongoings. You can drop me a comment in the box below. If you have a phone, there's many ways of doing that there too, so take advantage of that. This segment is submitted for possible inclusion to the PW Insider family of websites. It's pwinsider.com, pwinsiderelite.com, and pwinsiderextra.com. You can also follow them on Facebook at PW Insider or on Twitter at pwinsider.com. Like I said before, the Elite site is a great paid site to go to. Lots of great audio, lots of great video. They have an interview with D'Lo Brown on the site. By all means, check that out. So, without any further ado, we're going to get into the topics today. First topic was a challenge thrown out to me by a good friend of mine named Pete. We had an outing. There was an outing that both of us were at which there was a hunting type game, duck hunting type game, and you said, "Hey, I dare you to try to incorporate that into a segment." So I said, well, sure, take the challenge. If any of you guys out there that want to throw me a challenge by having me incorporate something and having it make sense as pertaining to wrestling, by all means, drop me a line. See what I could do with it. So, if you are familiar with the low duck hunting video games, you have a gun, and ducks will fly at the screen, or deers will run, or not deers, deer, plural of deer is deer. But yeah, you'll see deer running across, or buffalo, or whatever animal of the game was going to be. So you take your gun and you shoot, and if you're lucky, you hit it. Or you miss it. You hit, you miss. You hit, you miss. If you're successful, you hit more times than you miss. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to wind up missing to no end, unless you take the gun and put it up like to the screen. That's a great way to cheat, but never going to allow you to grow in terms of aim and steadiness and experience. Wrestling. Incorporating this into wrestling, when it comes to wrestling, storylines should be more hit than miss. You should have an idea where you're going. If any of you have seen my previous segments, you know what my feeling is on wrestling when it comes to the storyline aspect, because to me it's still all going to be about the guys in the ring. But if you're insisting on having a storyline to go with it, you should have something that winds up making sense as opposed to just something you throw on the wall. But if you wind up hitting a lot and you become more successful, people take notice. That's like, wow, it's like, I want to see where this is going. As opposed to, okay, why do I want to see where this is going when you're kind of proving to me that it's not going to be worth my time or effort if I'm just shooting blanks in the air and not hitting anything. So yeah, for true success, wrestling-wise, or better yet, in life-wise, you have to hit more times than you miss, because when you hit, people take notice of how great you are, as opposed to how much you suck and by all the missing that you do. So, this is just something to keep in mind. This isn't aimed at any one federation or one group, although I could probably think of some things that I could aim it at. But yeah, just for future reference, if you're ever promoting a wrestling event, if you're ever doing a show, keep that in mind. It's like you look at Attitude Era, that went over big. NWA in the 80s, that went over big. World Class, that went over big. Why? Because they hit a lot more times than they miss. They hit a lot more times than they miss, and people stood up and it's like, I want to come back and see that every week. As opposed to these fly-by-night places that give you really nothing to invest your time in. And those have pretty much come and gone and been an afterthought, never really been thought of again. So yeah, if you hit more times than you miss, you'll be a superstar. Jumping into events here, I'm gonna get into Wrestlemania later. So it wouldn't make sense for me to do this segment before WrestleMania than not mention it, but we'll mention that later. First event, this came to me from Legends Mania 1 on Twitter, It's about an event happening at the Philadelphia Comic-Con. If you are in the area, feel free to check it out. They didn't provide me with a website, and I've yet to find one, so you may have to do some Google searching on your own. But essentially, there's going to be a Comic-Con, a meet and greet at the Comic-Con, where and I'm reading off notes here, where you could see DDP, Lita, Paul Bearer, and Jimmy Hart. There's going to be an autograph session. In terms of tickets, like I said, you're going to want to Google it because they didn't provide me with a website. So you can meet either Diamond Dallas Page, and/or Lita, and/or Jimmy Hart, and/or Percy Pringle, aka Paul Bearer. You get a glossy 8x10 photo that you choose at the event, and a photo op with your own camera. Now, tickets are on sale for the event from Friday, June the 1st to July 3rd. Basically, the ticket for the meet and greet does not get you entrance into the Comic-Con. You have to have separate admission for that. But like I said, you could go meet them. You could say hi. You could do whatever you want with that. I'm guessing gives you a little bit of leeway. But they're also saying is no tickets will be given. You want to print the proof of purchase and bring it with you. They'll also have a name generated list, and they'll check you in upon arrival. So yeah, I'm not seeing anywhere on here where there's a website. So forgive me for not giving that to you. I really would, but it's just not there. But you can say Google search it. If you're in the Philadelphia area and at the Comic-Con, by all means check that out. So that out the way, we're going to jump into events going on. And a lot of this information is presented via pwinsider.com. So let me find what I need here. Helps if you have this stuff ready beforehand, so you're not looking kind of lost while you're trying to find information that you should have already. While I'm looking for that, Hall of Fame weekend, you'll see the induction of people like Ron Simmons, Yokozuna. You'll see introductions of Mil Mascaras. You'll see the induction of blanking out here. You'll see the inductions of Edge and the Four Horsemen. That would be the team of Barry Windham, J.J. Dillon, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, and Ric Flair. So yeah, that's definitely a good event there. Side note, there's a Hall of Fame album that you can only buy on iTunes. Checked out some of the samples. Not too overly impressed by it because many things are similar to what's on other things, but at the same time, they did some remixes of stuff that wasn't even near close to what the actual song is. So basically, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you don't have anything previously that WWE has put out in its mini incarnations from Full Metal to current. So still looking for information here. I'm just going to give you a brief overview. A complete schedule can be found at pwinsider.com. So, like I said, just going to touch on some points here. You have Access. That's going to be at the Miami Beach Convention Center. That's something that they always do. Something that I've been doing prior to the Wrestlemania events. It's a good meet and greet type situation. A lot of WWE related things, like you get step in the graveyard of the Undertaker. You get legend signings. You get to broadcast out. You get to be like a commentator. There's so many things that you could do there. From what I've heard, it's not even funny. On Thursday, March 29th. That would be tomorrow. I'm doing this on a Wednesday night, so you may hear this information after the fact. 7:30 p.m. NWA Ring Warriors Battle of the Belts is going to be headlined by NWA champion Adam Pearce versus a challenger to be handpicked by Jim Cornette. Tag team champions are on the line as well. Bunch of other things. By all means, check out their information at facebook.com/Swing Warriors. 8 p.m. Dragon Gate USA. You'll see a CCW death match between Drake Younger and DJ Hyde. Information on them, you can check out their website, www.dgusa.tv. Let's see what else. Friday's continuation of the Access thing. Dragon Gate USA is having an internet pay-per-view that day at 8 p.m. You'll see Pac versus Low Key. Ring of Honor is also holding a card that night. It's going to be headlined by Davey Richards, the ROH champion, taking on Eddie Edwards and Roderick Strong. Other information on the card as well. Check out their website, www.rohwrestling.com. There's going to be a midnight Q&A session with Jake the Snake Roberts at Miami Beach Duvo Resort. Let's see. Like I said, just giving you a brief overview. You can check more on their site. Throughout the weekend, there's going to be a Wrestle Reunion convention. Check them out, www.wrestlereunion.com. Ring of Honor pay-per-view at 1 p.m. That's on Saturday. Headlined by 3 matches, in which any match could be for the title, but who knows for sure. Let's see. Dragon Gate Internet pay-per-view at 8 p.m. as one of the matches being Sami Callihan versus Sabu. That will be the night of the Hall of Fame ceremony, where once again, like I said, they'll be inducting Edge, Mil Mascaras, Yokozuna, Ron Simmons of Four Horsemen, and I forgot Mike Tyson. And there's also going to be a $5 wrestling show there as well. Sunday, April the 1st, there's going to be a Wrestle Reunion convention and luncheon. There's also going to be, of course, the Granddaddy of the Month. So you're going to notice a bit of an editing job here. So, because there were things going on when I was saying something before that you really didn't need to see, so not sure where I left off at, but let's see. Going to repeat the last 2 things that I mentioned. Like I said, WrestleMania 28, Sun Life Stadium. You're going to be headlined by Dwayne Johnson versus John Cena, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, Undertaker versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match. You'll see Daniel Bryan against Sheamus. One of the mini matches that you'll see is a control of the Raw and SmackDown, where Team Johnny, the team of David Otunga, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, The Miz, and who was the other person that took the place? There were 6 people, and who was the other one? Oh well. In any case, they're taking on the team of Ted Teddy. That's the team of Santino Marella, Great Khali, Zack Ryder, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and Booker T. Now, if you've ever seen a couple of segments that I had before, you would know that, to me, there's nothing that tops the Eric Embry versus Devastation Corporation storyline. To me, if you're ever having a thing where you have control of the company on the line, in this case, general manager, so it's not really for control of WWE, it's for control of who manages both, you should never enter comedy into it all, because that takes away from the seriousness of the angle. There was a card that I went to that had a battle royal to determine who would take over the company, and midway they had this guy come out, do this comedy thing, and it's like, okay, so we're having a battle royal for control of the company that's supposed to be serious, or should be taken seriously, but it's not when you throw comedy in there. Something like that, like I said, you should never introduce comedy into it. Now, if it's something that just came about like naturally, like something gets said and it's like, okay, that's funny, but was it meant to be? Then yeah, that's fine. But if you're throwing people like Hornswoggle and the whole shenanigans that they did this past Raw, it's like you blew any possibility of making that count. So yeah, check out my archives. I go into detail about it much more than I'm doing now, but like I said, by all means, check out archives, because I go into a lot of things and I mention a whole lot of things that I do reference. So So let's see, is there anything else that I'm missing? Okay, I did mention Wrestle Reunion, but I don't think I did not mention what exactly is going to be happening there. Let's see if they even have a card set up. I don't even think they have a card set up. I mean, I've heard of a couple of matches, but yeah, give me just a moment here. Like I said, I know they had a card mentioned. And I could go forever and a day with regards to all the superstars that's going to be there. I seriously wish I could be there myself. Okay, here is a card that I have found here. Fit Finlay versus Harry Smith. You'll see an 8-man elimination match between Lanny Poffo, Brian Blair, Carlos Colon, and Mike Graham versus Outlaw Ron Bass, the Max Superstar, Gorgeous Gary Roll, and Larry the Cruncher Zbyszko. You will see Honky Tonk Man versus Tito Santana. You'll see Matt Classic versus the Man Scout Jake Manning. You'll see Lonnie Kai versus Amber O'Neal. And you'll see the New Age Outlaws versus the Varsity Club. That's Kevin Sullivan and Rick Steiner. Now, whenever I've seen cards that they tend to put on, it's very unique in the nature of it, because they typically tend to place teams or people together that you probably would never have seen otherwise. Like I said, one of these days I hope to go, but it's definitely, like I said, a very unique blend of action, adventure, drama, etc. So check out their website, www.wrestlereunion.com. I think I've rambled on enough, filling your head with so much information that's going to blow your head silly. So if you do want to check out more events that's going on beyond what I've mentioned, as well as check out more information on the events I mentioned, check out pwinsider.com. That's where I derive most of the information. So, like I said, definitely a great site. It's like, by the way that they handled the whole FCW situation, it's like I said before, it's one of the main reasons why I submit my segments for inclusion on their site, because it's a site that is reputable, a site that has the respect, has the notoriety, just has the overall finesse of being a great wrestling site or a website in general to go to, that I'm honored to have my work on their site. Now, it's not on their main site, it's on their sister site, PW Insider Extra, but you know what I mean? It's on PW Insider, so it's on a reputable site, so there you go. So, I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. If I do come at you with another topic, you'll find me on Facebook. Give some information there. You can email me, agurrier@yahoo.com. You can also find me on Facebook at my name, Albert Gurrier, or you can like my Facebook page. That's Slammin Synapses No G. You can also follow me on Twitter at Slammin Synapses as well. So, for Albert Gurrier, this is Slammin Synapses saying see you next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy WrestleMania. Have a great WrestleMania weekend. Make the most of what you do. Be the best. Keep reaching for the stars. Fill in any other cliche that I could put here. And just have a good one. Bye, everybody.